So first and foremost, thank you very much. Wave everybody, wave to the camera, hi! Hello! I really appreciate everybody being here. This is amazing to see this many people in here. There has been one time where we had another row of chairs and I was like standing here, you know, where I couldn't move. But ultimately, this is obviously a subject that is
That was the
interesting
first
to
time I
most.
paid everybody.
No, I don't. Thanks, Lenny. Thanks a lot. You know, so one of the big things here is that when I do these workshops, I do them because I want the best for you. I want you guys to be educated enough to understand what you're doing, what things you're doing outside of here, so you can learn. How to take care of yourself and support what we're doing here. Excuse me. I have something in my teeth. And so ultimately, my goal and my hope for you is that you walk away with one nugget of information. You might have seen some of this stuff before and might know some of this stuff, okay? But ultimately, we want you to walk away with one piece of information that you can share with someone and say, hey, come on back and invite somebody with you. As you see on your seats, we left flyers for the Halloween party. The big thing about the Halloween party is we used to do a haunted house every year. We changed it to a party this year because a lot of the younger kids couldn't come through because they were scared. So now they can come through and they can hang out, and we're going to have a party and fun. We're going to have catered food. We're going to have gifts and prizes for the adults. Most importantly, we're doing a fundraiser for Michelle, who is the owner of the fitness facility next door. She's in her second battle with cancer, and that's what we are about here in this practice. We're about that hope, that you guys will see your way to share with others and be healthy. So having said that, we have a lot of information to go through. I have you here for 30 minutes. I'm going to work my hardest to make sure that you get out of here in 30 minutes. I value your time. I want to be with my family too when I get out of here. We have a lot of people here that we had a guest speaker who did yoga here. We have someone who has a local farm. They sell stuff all from local farms. Yeah, look, I even have a cart right here. So that's good. So it'll go really well with this. I ask, eyes, ears open, okay? And just have an open mind, okay? You know, and if you've heard this stuff before, please just, you know, be at peace with it and just say, oh, okay, this is some information I didn't know. Having said that, the name of this class is talking about reducing inflammation through diet. And it really is about the choices we make. Okay. Huh? There is actually, you can crack all of the windows in here if you want to. Are you cold? Yeah. Can you roll those windows? Sure. It does, with this many people in here, it does get hot.
Wait, just not that one, that one doesn't have a screen on it.
That's all right.
If hornets come in, I'm taking off.
Okay, yeah, no more. It's too cold for them. So this is about the choices that we really are making in everything that we do. So every moment that you sit down and you eat, you're making a choice. The foods that you eat, you're making a choice. Because it all adds up. It's all cumulative. Okay? It's not like, okay, one bad thing that's going to get me sick throughout the rest of my life. You know, I had a friend, I have a chiropractic friend, actually a person, a mentor, and his sister just lost a battle with cancer. 5 years, she just passed due to cancer. And the guy is so upbeat. I've never met somebody like that. But, you know, he said to me, he goes, it was the way she lived her life. It wasn't that, you know, it wasn't that she didn't, she might have still had the cancer if she had changed the way she was eating or doing, but it was the quality of her life before that. And that's a really important thing. That's a really important thing because you can change the quality of life while you're here. And that's what we want to help you do. And those are the choices we make. So first, we have to understand what inflammation is. Okay, inflammation is actually the body's attempt at self-protection. The aim being to remove harmful stimuli, including damaged cells, irritants, or pathogens, and begin the healing process. This is what inflammation truly is. Most people don't think of inflammation that way. Okay, they don't look at it that way. They think, oh, I've got inflammation, I gotta get rid of it. Well, yes and no. I mean, we tell people to put ice on things to help reduce swelling, but that inflammation is there for a reason. I mean, if you break a bone and it swells around the bone, is that supposed to happen?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
Protection.
To protect it, it stabilizes the bone. So that inflammation is there for a reason. And actually, the healing, when you go into what they call a healing crisis, the first process of healing is inflammation. Okay? It's when you get into the chronic state where we have problems. We'll talk a little bit about that. Inflammation is part of our innate immunity. We do a whole workshop on innate ability. Our innate immunity is what is naturally present in our bodies when we are born. Okay? It is not something that we take from the outside in. We all heal from the inside out. Above, down, inside out. That's the way the body heals. Adaptive immunity is something that happens when you are given something from the outside. And it's not as effective. Okay, it's something like a vaccination or something of that nature. And half the times the vaccinations you have to get boosters, so you're not really immune to it anyway. Okay, because it starts losing its ability to fight off whatever it is, the pathogen. And now there are some situations, obviously, that people need to take some things to help them avoid infection and things of that nature. But that's not the commonplace. Okay, but you do have to take that into consideration too. It is also a localized protective response elicited by injury or destruction of tissue which serves to destroy, dilute, or wall off both the injurious agent and the injured tissue. So it's known as an adjective, obviously, as inflammatory. So if you look at this, wall off, what comes to mind? Huh? Fighting. Well, you're walling off, but what in your body is something that's walled off? A tumor, a cyst. Okay, these are things, they're actually reactions of your body that are going on. A cyst is something that's there. It's trying to wall off something or keep something from getting worse. Okay, so you have to be aware that there's some sort of response that's going on. So acute inflammation, and this doesn't mean it's like a cute little baby or something like that. It means that it just happened. Okay, that something traumatic happened, and that's what's happened. It starts rapidly. It's a rapid onset. It quickly becomes severe. Signs and symptoms are only present for a few days, but in some cases may persist for a few weeks. So a lot of the times, like if someone gets a cut, okay, one of the first things that happens is you get clotting agents, and then you get the scabbing. And then sometimes they get red and inflamed. Does that mean you have an infection? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. A nurse is saying no. So thank you. So it's important to understand that that's a natural reaction of the body. It's trying to keep things from building up. And there's so many antibodies in that place fighting for you that it's trying to get it to heal. So you have to be aware of what's going on. So acute inflammation, though, they may persist for a few weeks, but usually within a few days you start feeling better. Chronic inflammation is long-term, which can last for several months and even years. This is a failure to eliminate what is causing an acute inflammation. So you're constantly abusing yourself. You're constantly doing something that's inflaming it. Maybe you have a subluxation is a perfect example of that, because if there's a subluxation or a shift in your spine, it is constantly irritating the nerve. So what's going to happen to the area around the nerve? It's going to get inflamed. And then it becomes chronic. So that's why when we adjust it, we're trying to correct that. It could be an autoimmune response or a self-antigen. The immune system attacks healthy tissue, making it harmful for the pathogens. It's attacking your own body. Anybody know people that have autoimmune diseases? Name one. Say it again. Graves' disease. Lyme. Lupus. Okay, these are MS. Yeah, they're all autoimmune function. There's something going on where the body is not responding properly and it's attacking itself. Again, it's a communication system problem, and there's something happening there. A chronic irritant of low intensity that persists. So if you sat there scratching your arm, keep doing it for about 30 years. What do you think would happen? Yeah, so it's eventually going to wear down. So those are things. So those are important things to understand. Now, for example, I've had 3 knee surgeries. Okay, I have chronic chronic knee problems because I have arthritic changes in my knees because of it. Okay, but that was because I had knee problems. It was from injuries. Okay, it doesn't mean it stops me from doing things. You still need to move. It's very, very important that you understand there's a balance in the things that you're doing and how far you want to push yourself. Inflammation may cause, and this is an important aspect of this whole process. Plaque and coronary artery disease is linked to inflammation. Scientists from Stanford University linked 25 new genetic regions to coronary artery disease. They found that people with coronary artery disease, or CAD, the leading cause of death globally, not just in the United States, but globally, okay, are most likely predisposed to the disease because they have gene variants linked to inflammation. So this is important to understand. We do a whole class on epigenetics, which is how the genes are controlled and respond. So there is something that turns on these genes that causes the inflammation. So that's something, if you're interested in that you'll come to the workshop. When it's out of control, as in rheumatoid arthritis, it can damage the body, plus it's thought to play a role in obesity, heart disease, and cancer. Okay, so the thing is, you have to look at what's going on in your body beforehand. The big thing here, this is an autoimmune disease. There is a young girl in my neighborhood who is like 10, and she has JRA. It's not even called it's called juvenile arthritis. It's not even called juvenile arthritis anymore. But she has juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah, it has a different name now. They call it something different now. And it's amazing that, I mean, I see her. You would never know by looking at her. You would never ever know. Why does this kid, a 10-year-old kid, have this? I don't know. But I look at the parents and I look at the diets that they eat and the foods that they eat and the things that they do, and I can understand why she's not getting healthier. So these are the things that you have to approach. Foods high in sugar and saturated fats can spur inflammation. They cause overactivity in the immune system, which can lead to joint pain, fatigue, and damage to the blood vessels. This is by a doctor named Scott Zashin, clinical professor at the University of Texas Southwest Medical Center in Dallas. Keep this protein in mind, C-reactive protein. I'm going to talk about it a little later. But C-reactive protein is actually now, they're finding, is a better gauge of heart disease and heart attack type symptoms than what they test for now with cholesterol. Okay. Chronic inflammatory reactions are present in most age-related neurodegenerative disorders, including Alzheimer's disease. I needed to put this in because people don't understand this. Okay. I know a lot of people that have, my father-in-law has Alzheimer's. I know people here that have their parents have Alzheimer's. It is based upon inflammatory reactions in the brain. Okay, these amyloid beta form sticky plaques in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease, ultimately killing the surrounding neurons and causing memory loss and other cognitive problems. So it is huge. Inflammation is huge in the glial in affecting the glial cells of the brain. Okay, which are, glial stands for glue. It sort of holds the brain cells and neurons together. Okay, and it can be present in neurodegenerative disorders, but also in any sort of when you're talking to somebody and they're forgetting stuff in front of you, any sort of disease like that. Even when you are younger, if you have problems where you're forgetting things, these amyloid plaques are being affected. Okay, so it's very, very important to understand that these things are taken care of, and the neurodegeneration is what causes a lot of this stuff. So you have to understand what you do every day is going to affect it. If you do it once, like last night I had my butter pecan ice cream, you know, from yeah, she's nodding her head, you know, it was a little bit, you know, but I had to have it, you know, and I was just, okay, but I don't eat like that all the time. I don't eat like that all the time. But think about this, and I'll ask you to think about this when you leave here. If you eat a certain type of food that you know is not good for you, the next day or two, how do you feel?
Sick.
Huh?
Guilty.
Guilt.
Guilty. Okay. And guilt has a factor that plays into all that inflammation too, because you release different chemicals.
Comprehension.
Okay, yeah, you know. So the thing is not only that though, but there is an actual physiological change that you have to look at. So, inflammation equates to aging. The more inflammation you have, the faster you age. I mean, and that's it. So now we're going to go into foods that cause inflammation, and I'm going to go through these fairly quick, not super quick, but fairly quick, and then I'm going to go through some foods that are good for you that help to reduce the inflammation. Okay? Inflammation-causing foods, and most of you guys know what they are. It's the standard American diet. It's sad. Okay? The 3 Ps: processed, packaged, and prepared, or prepared. Fast food is the top of the list. Who eats fast food? Yeah. Why do we eat fast food?
Always in a hurry.
Because you think it's faster. But really, honestly, if you took the 5 or 10 minutes in the morning to prepare something healthy, it'd take you just as long. But we don't think of it. It's different. So it's important. Or have something healthy sitting around that you can snack on. Like I bought, like right now it's apple picking season, so I always have a bag of apples and I'm always chowing on an apple or something. Because it's easy. We need easy, is what it is. So you need to make it readily available. Okay? Hydrogenated and trans fats found in margarine, shortening, lard, or products made with them. That includes baked goods, cookies, pies, buns. Hey, what's happening this time of year?
Are you trying to kill the holidays?
Oh God, the holidays are coming. And how many people get sick around the holidays? Or right after the holidays are done? Yeah, okay. Well, you cook for yourself, though. But I have family too. But a lot of people, their body's under a lot of stress, so what are the things that you can do to help flush those things out? So that's important. Meat, not... Say again?
Drink a lot of water.
Drink a lot of water, that's right. Thank you, honey. Meat, not wild-caught fish. I'm not suggesting that you go vegan or vegetarian. Plant-based diet tends to be lower in inflammatory substance. However, meat and poultry tend to cause inflammation. So a good example of that is red meats with gout. Okay, if you eat a lot of red meat, you're more tendency to gout. Okay, as a matter of fact, it used to be called rich man's disease many, many years ago in England because that's the only person that could afford red meat. Okay, but they're very high in purines. However, you have to have a balance of it. If you look at the diets we're supposed to, you have to have a balance of it, but it goes along with activity. But if you eat a lot of it and it's processed, you're done. Okay, you're done. Fried foods. French fries, onion ring, potato chips. The girls today, they came in and one of them had French fries, and I could smell it, and I was like, oh my God, that smells horrible, And it's like most people are like, oh, it smells good. I was like, for some reason today, it just didn't jive with me, But when do has anybody ever been hungover? Okay, what do you crave on the day after you drink? Greasy, fatty food. It's like you think, oh yeah, it's gonna absorb it. No, it just adds to the fat. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. White sugar and sweets. So the motto is, if it's white, it's not right. And that can go in a lot of different directions, but we're talking about food. Okay. Synthetic sweeteners, NutraSweet, Splenda, Saccharin, aspartame, amino sweet. We had a workshop a few weeks ago, or it might have been last week. No, it was a few weeks ago, and there was a young lady here, and she was. I said, does anybody know what aspartame is used for? Okay, does anybody know what aspartame? Everybody knows what aspartame is? Yeah. Okay, it's a pesticide. They use it as a pesticide. Okay, and she was sitting right there. She works with she works with insecticides and stuff. That's what she does for a living. She was like, yeah, we use it as a pesticide, and it mimics MS symptoms if you drink a lot of diet soda. So you got to be careful. Okay, you got to be careful. Iodized salts, use Celtic sea salt instead. I know many years ago, everybody it was really important to have, iodine, because of our thyroid and everything, but now everybody has these huge goiters, and okay, we were wrong. Food additives, yeah, we were wrong. I mean, come on, let's go. Admit you're wrong, Food additives, colors, flavor enhancers, stabilizer, preservatives. If it's a long name and it's got some sort of FD+C red 40, it's a preservative. Something's wrong. Okay, artificial coloring, huh?
Can't pronounce it, you shouldn't eat it.
Yeah, you shouldn't eat it, right?
I mean, I think this is both
There's some, yeah, but there's some good foods that I can't pronounce, and they taste really good. And it's like some vegetables and stuff, like some of the Chinese stuff, you know, that are really good for you. So it's but yeah, in the general rule of thumb is if you can't pronounce or read it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it could be in a spelling bee.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has an accident, it's probably.
Dairy products such as yogurt, ice cream, cottage cheese, butter cheese, etc. These can be inflammatory. So people are like, what do I eat? Yeah, we'll get there. Wheat products because of the glutens. We have a whole workshop containing glutens and alcohol. Okay, it's a burden on the liver and high in sugar. Okay, so these are the things that can cause inflammation. Now we're going to go to the flip side. Okay, if anybody wants copies of this, please let me know. Okay, if you go ahead.
You know, going through this list, one of the things that I'm sure pretty much everybody else in this room, you know, growing up with the food pyramid, the stuff that they're telling us to eat lots of wheats, meats, all that.
Yeah, they're all inflammatory. Yeah, I don't know, they're in cahoots somehow. I won't go there. Yeah.
The dairy products, that isn't lactose, isn't the inflammatory ingredient, so lactose free is not.
Lactose, it's usually not the lactose. Lactose is the sugar. Okay, lactose is the sugar. It's so what happens is that could be part of it, but it's also the casein.
Okay, so
Casein.
lactose free isn't a good
It might be.
substitute
It
for
depends on the
eliminating-
individual. It's really everybody's biochemically a little individual, but lactose free may be a little better. They do say sometimes non-dairy or low-fat milks are better. I disagree. I think raw milk is the best way to go. Okay, raw milk has all the impurities that you need for your body to be well. And people like impurities, yeah. Okay, because it's natural. It's from the if you want to eat healthy, you want to eat closest to the natural form as possible. So those are the things that you look at. You just have to be careful when you feed raw milk to babies. Okay, because you have to, they're really young babies. You just have to be aware of what's going on. So that's a good question though. But yeah, a lot of the time people are like, so what do I eat? I'm like, you know, so I sit there and I'm like, all right. So inflammation fighting foods. Okay, and I was saying if you want these lists, and if you want it, I don't know where the sign-in sheet went. Huh? It's out front. I'll ask you guys to take a sign sheet, put your name next to it, and I'll work on getting copies of this stuff to you. Okay. Oily fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, and sardines are high in omega-3 fatty acids, which have been shown to help reduce inflammation. The salmon should be wild caught, not farm. Okay. Anything farm raised is usually not good. Tilapia is sort of, it doesn't have the same changes, huh?
Nothing farm raised.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? If I can get someone to eat tilapia, it's better than eating the other farm-raised fish. That's all I'm saying. It's you know what? It's small changes at a time.
I don't do veal.
Whole grains that you want to eat are you want to get them. You don't want the refined stuff. You want stuff that's called like bulgur wheat. Okay, bulgur wheat is a good quinoa. You know, some of those types of whole grains are better for you. Barley. Those are types. If you want to make beer, you can use the barley. I don't know. But the thing is, these whole grains have actually shown to reduce some of the levels of C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein is that inflammatory marker in your blood that they check for that causes a lot of problems and can cause issues. Okay, but you have to be careful of. Like today, I was bad. I had a spinach salad. But then I had like 4 rolls with it. I was just hungry. I was like, okay, I'm hungry, and you know what? I listened to my body when I was hungry, and now I feel better. But you know, later on, I'll be like, why do my knees hurt? You know. So those are the things to look at. Dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, broccoli, collard greens, dark greens, and cruciferous vegetables also tend to have higher concentrations of vitamins and minerals. If you cook them, steam them, and not a lot. Okay, and then if you want to add some garlic and oil to it or something, that's the way to eat them. If you're cooking them till they're dead, you're done. It's useless. I mean, you might as well not eat this stuff. It just adds, it may add as a little fiber to your diet, but it's not good. You need to eat it where it's not overcooked. Okay, so those are, they have pro-inflammatory molecules called cytokines, and one of the best success sources of the vitamin that you can get. Dark leafy greens should be with every single meal that you eat. Every single meal that you eat should have some sort of dark leafy green. And you don't go get a hero or a sub and say, okay, put lettuce on it. That's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work. You need to make sure that you have nuts. The big ones with the nuts are almonds. Almonds are huge. Walnuts are huge. They have alpha-linoleic acid, which is another omega acid that you can use. It's ALA. Okay, there's a balance to this stuff. It's a type of omega-3. Walnuts, though, are packed with antioxidants. This is important. In the Mediterranean diet, if you ever look at the way they eat in the Middle East, like in Greece and Turkey, Italy, the Mediterranean areas right there, they use a lot of olive oil and nuts in their food. Okay, they're much healthier. And I can tell you for a fact, when I was 21 and I went to Turkey, and I actually ate, and I ate like a pig when I was there. I mean, it was like, I was 21 and I was eating a lot, but I lost 20 pounds. I was like, why? Because I was active, I was not sitting on my butt, I was walking around everywhere, because we didn't drive everywhere, so that's one thing. But the other thing was the food was fresh, and they didn't eat junk. I mean, everything came, you know, they eat differently. Okay, so it's important to understand. So nuts are an important part of your diet. And obviously,
peanuts are not nuts.
Peanut? No, not peanuts.
Yeah.
Not peanuts. Right. That's why I was pointing out walnuts, almonds. You can actually buy from a place in Vermont. You can buy almond butter. What's the name of the place? You know the name of the place. Vermont peanut butter. That's the name of it. Yeah. You look online. They have these awesome peanut butters. It's so good. It's so good. We used to order it in the office and just, oh my God, they have all kinds of good stuff. Peppers. Colorful vegetables are part of a healthier diet, according to Dr. Kostenbader, as opposed to white potatoes or corn. Colorful peppers, tomatoes, squash, and leafy vegetables have high quantities of antioxidants. Bell peppers are available in a variety of colors, while hot peppers like chili and cayenne are rich in capsaicin, which a clinical trial showed that reduces pain and inflammation. However, peppers being nightshade vegetables, you have to be careful with some of the arthritides and arthritis, and you have to see how your body responds to it. Okay, you have to be very wary of it, okay, because if your body is not responding properly to it, and you have to be aware of the foods that you're eating. Tomatoes is another nightshade vegetable, but they did find that because it's rich in lycopene, it will help with antioxidants, and especially for males. They have found that it's helped with prostate specifically. And then they did a study in 2012 and they found that tomato juice consumption was also beneficial. So tomato juice raw or even stewed or cooked, they actually are good for you. So if you're Italian, you use a lot of sauce, just don't put it all on the pasta and have a huge bowl of pasta. Put it on some grilled chicken. You know, something different. Beets. Brilliant red color is tip-off its equally brilliant antioxidant properties. Again, antioxidants. They also are rich in fiber, vitamin C, and plant pigments called betalains. Ginger and turmeric are spices that a lot of people use. Spices are commonly used in Asian and Indian cooking. And while the evidence in terms of rheumatoid arthritis inflammation is not very strong, it is still part of a healthy vegetable-rich diet. What happens is turmeric, the ingredient that gives curry its yellow color, works in the body by helping to turn off certain NF-kappa beta proteins that regulate the immune system and trigger the process of inflammation. So these things are anti-inflammatory. You can add ginger. You can buy ginger, and if you make smoothies or something like that, just take a piece of ginger and shove it into your smoothie. Okay, I mean, and it's fresh and it tastes great. I mean, it really does. Ginger has a very pungent taste to it, so you got to be very, very aware. You don't want to overuse it, but using some of it, it will work. You have to also look at your health. Okay, how can your body process some of this stuff? You have to make sure that it's okay for whatever conditions or things that you have going on. Garlic and onions. Who likes garlic and onions? Hey, you know, I tell you, I've been eating, I used to hate onions when I was a kid. When I got older, I started loving them. But garlic, oh my God, garlic, I always love garlic. We will actually make something called a garlic yogurt, where we'll actually crush garlic and put it into yogurt, and we put it on certain foods, and it tastes awesome. Has anybody ever had tzatziki sauce? You know, the Greek tzatziki? It's basically cucumber, dill, and garlic. Okay, so when I say garlic yogurt, people are like, ew, and I'm like, no, you don't understand, it tastes really good. You know, it tastes really good. And olive oil. Again, here we go to the Mediterranean diet. You gotta be careful, don't overcook the olive oil. It has a specific cooking temperature. Okay, avocado oil is good too. Avocado oil has a higher cooking temperature, but you have to be, because if you cook it too much, it can become toxic. If you leave it there for too long, so you have to be very careful of it. You want to make sure that you don't overheat it. Berries. Who didn't know berries weren't good for them? I mean, look at all the. I mean, they're low in fat. For example, a red raspberry extract helps prevent animals from developing arthritis. Blueberries can help protect against intestinal inflammation and ulcerative colitis. And women who eat more strawberries have low levels of C-reactive protein in their blood. If a woman has less C-reactive protein in their blood, when they have their menstrual cycle, do you think it's going to be less painful or more painful? Less, because there's not going to be as much inflammation. Go ahead.
Going back to the turmeric, I have pepper grinders.
Yeah.
I put turmeric in my black peppercorn. I have
Oh, really?
I grow my own hot peppers, but a way to get turmeric in your body, on your food, and is
Just
put it in
into
a pepper grinder.
That's awesome.
Mix it with the black pepper that you have.
That's an awesome idea. I never even thought of doing that. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is a great idea. That's a great idea.
Because they're similar in flavor.
Yeah, it's just a little
you
different.
You don't taste cumin.
Yeah, no. And then tart cherries. In a 2012 presentation, Oregon Health and Science University's researchers studied that tart cherries have the highest anti-inflammatory content of any food. Studies have found that the tart cherry juice can reduce the inflammation in lab rats' blood vessels by up to 50%. In 50%. In humans, meanwhile, it's been shown to help athletes improve their performance and reduce the use of anti-inflammatory pain meds. This is tart cherries, not sweet. They have to be tart. If you get the sweet ones, you're out of luck. It's the tart cherries. Okay, how you tell the difference, I don't know, but they have to be tart. That's all I know. Okay? So, I have this pyramid up there, and I just threw a lot of information at you on a lot of different foods. Okay? Like I said, if you have questions about it, don't be afraid to ask for this. Okay? If you want copies of it, don't be afraid to ask for this. If you want to sit down and go through nutritional evaluations and stuff, speak with me. We have to set time aside. Okay, I have a background in nutrition and dietetics. Okay, and that's important to understand because when you look at a hierarchy of needs, nutrition or nourishment is down here. Okay, you need to build your stabilization. Okay. It's important to have that nourishing your body. However, you can go without food for how long? 3 to 5 weeks, 4 weeks, somewhere in that range. You know, if you're built like me, probably about 8 weeks because I have more to eat at. You know, okay. You know, I mean, literally. I mean, but it's important. You know, so it sits down here. So in the vital, you know, in the, you know, vitality of needs, this sits here on the bottom. Water, without say. Okay, if you're not drinking water, you're going to have discomfort and pain. You're not flushing out the toxins, and you should be drinking somewhere in the vicinity of about two-thirds of your body weight in ounces. So if I'm 240 pounds, 2/3 is about 160 pounds. Change that to ounces, it's about 160 ounces. So it's about a gallon of water a day, a little over a gallon of water a day. Okay. Yeah, you're like, no, I gotta pee every 5 minutes.
No, it's tough.
You know, but after a while, your body actually starts using the water, and you don't go as much. It really does. It makes a huge difference. It's just you have to get your body accustomed to it. And if you're feeling sick or something, you can add turmeric to it. You can add lemon to it. You can put cayenne pepper in it. Okay, I mean, I know people that you can make a tea out of it. Okay, but not tea, but you can add the spice to it. You know, you can warm it up and do that. So that's important. But 3 to 7 days without water, you're toast. Oxygen, pretty much self-explanatory. You know, I mean, you cut off oxygen.
You did.
Okay, huh? Yeah, a couple of minutes, right? You know, a couple of minutes and you're done. But the thing is, they don't consider you dead until when? Until you're brain dead. You can do all of this, and you can eat all those foods and make sure that you're eating non-inflammatory foods, but if you don't have the proper nerve flow for it to work back and forth, okay, your body isn't going to process it at the best levels. Why not? It'll still process it, but not at 100%. It's really important, okay? These non-inflammatory foods are really important. Every choice you make when you leave here is important. If you're going to, and start with one thing. Don't try to do it all, okay? You know, break your plate into thirds. Make sure you have some dark leafy greens on it. Or make sure you have some berries with your as a snack during the day. Or, you know, add something good. You know, if you're hungry and you want some rich antioxidants, grab a handful of almonds. You know, natural. I mean, there are a lot of good things that you can do throughout the day that will fill you up and keep you going to the next level. I mean, and these are things that, you know, that I've learned a lot from the last 5-6 years in doing triathlons, okay? Because I can do all of this stuff, but if I'm not functioning 100% and adjusted, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. This is the beginning. I thank you all for being here, and if you know people, ask them to come. Ask them to be here. Ask them to be in this place where we're giving people hope for their health. You know, that's the big thing. We want you to understand that there is hope, but I can't do it alone. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make me drink. I need your help. Thank you very, very much. Have a great night.
Don't leave.
I am.
I'm gonna hit record, so.